I'm so sleepy today. Why are we doing this?
What do you mean today?
I mean, yesterday too. That's also why we didn't do it yesterday. But
Yeah, and
but
the
that
last
was
time we did
also
the podcast.
but that was
And
also your fault though.
yeah.
Yeah, you also didn't want to do it yesterday.
Yeah, well, at least one of us has to be lucid, I guess.
Kinda.
Kinda. No, I don't feel sleepy at all. I just feel but I don't feel like I need to rest more. I've rested enough. Anything that's going on with me is not fixed by sleeping more.
Then what is it gonna be fixed by? I don't.
I don't know. General improvement of the state of the world,
Yeah,
uh,
same I guess.
an appropriately sized place to live in, closer proximity to my workplace, actual motivation to go to the gym,
Wow,
uh,
you're describing my
uh,
life.
not having to pay off any student loans anymore,
Okay, I don't have those at least.
having a pet or two,
Oh, we're back at describing my life.
having a new bike that doesn't rattle when I pedal, and makes me self-conscious about people hearing my chain being way too loud because I probably have to replace it. But then don't have a bike while that's being fixed.
But who cares? Because you're past people so quickly, they don't get to actually see who made that horrible noise.
Except when in the morning and in the evening I commute with my bike, and there's sometimes just an insanely high amount of people also commuting while I commute, but not every day for some reason. Just sometimes. There's no reason to it, no rhyme or reason. So
So,
I ride behind somebody or in front of somebody, and they constantly hear the quack 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 of my fucking chain.
quack, quack, quack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you, I guess. Meanwhile, I still need to actually get myself a bike I can ride at all and actually kind of practice riding a bike so that I'm confident enough to go around the city with it, which
It's actually really easy to get a bike in Hamburg. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
that's not the point. The point is buying one that's like,
No, you don't. I don't. That's what I mean. You don't have to buy one, even.
you mean steal one?
I mean, if you want, sure, but
N-
I wouldn't go that far.
I don't know what you mean then. The thing is, I already own a bike and I've had it for years, but it's kind of too heavy and it's kind of rusted since
Hmm.
I just kind of kept it parked outside in the rain and shit.
Well, there's a service in Hamburg that rents your bike that is perfect for the city. It even has like I think the cheapest one they have even has a front carrier thingy for bags and stuff to attach to
Are
if
you
you want
just
to commute.
talking about the city bike service,
No,
the Stadtrad?
it's like a rental thing. You have a bike that's your bike. You pay a monthly fee, and if
Oh,
anything happens to it, they repair it for free. You don't have to worry about anything.
okay.
That's
That's
what it
kind of
is.
cool.
It's
How much is
there
it a
is
month though?
$15 a month is where it starts.
15?
Yeah, and then whenever you have
It's
problems
not
with
too
it,
bad.
no, that's not too bad. It's super cheap actually. It's cheaper than having a train ticket.
But like, have you ever
If
done
you
it?
well, I've always owned a bike, so I didn't
Oh,
need to.
yeah, but you're saying that your bike is like
Yeah, I've
kind of
considered it.
broken or it makes too
Yeah,
much noise or whatever. It's like
yeah, I've
on its
considered
last
using
leg.
this service before and getting like one of their highest quality bikes, I guess, which would be probably a little more expensive. But yeah, I've considered it certainly.
Hmm.
Like their nicest non-electric bike is 17.90 per month. It's seven gears. I think it's reasonable to have a bike you don't need to worry about when you normally would be paying like $500 for a bike, and then you have to pay for repairs.
I mean, you gotta weigh, like, you gotta compare the costs of buying it yourself. Like, depends how
Mhm.
long you would subscribe to this thing. Because I think in general, subscription services could still be a loss that's kind of too much. I don't
Well, if you
know.
don't use it, for me, it's an instant gain if I was not paying for public transport. This is already the podcast. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's
Huh?
already the podcast, sure.
We didn't even say hello.
Do we always need to say hello?
I think people deserved acknowledgement.
If they're here, I'm assuming that they just kind of want to listen to something and they don't want to be involved. So
Well, I like starting a podcast and easing into it. The people are like, "Whoa!" On today's podcast, we pooped our pants, and then we went to the toilet and cleaned up, and that's what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, that's right, chat and listeners of today's episode. Even if you're not listening to this live, Shalama pooped his pants today, and he went to the bathroom, and he had to clean that for like an hour.
I
And
have in all of my grown up life and in my teens, I have never pooped my pants. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You can stop clapping. You can stop clapping.
congratulations! I don't really want to share whether or not I've pooped my pants in my life.
I imagine that because I think it's special. Also, you didn't put up the podcast sign.
Yeah, because I still don't know if we've started, but it's fine. I guess we've started.
I
So
don't know. This is going to be a mess to cut together. Maybe, who knows? You'll probably not bother.
I probably won't bother. I don't have time to
Uh,
bother.
I don't know. It's just that from my experience, from listening to podcasts and watching videos where people just talk shit while playing games and stuff and stream, is that an overwhelming amount of people, like I think more than half of everybody has pooped their pants at some
Fine.
point.
Look, okay. If we're putting the cards on the
I'm
table
not
like
putting
this,
anybody on the spot.
fine. I
Jeez.
will confess I have pooped my pants once.
Wow. Gee, I didn't need. I didn't. What? I didn't. You didn't
I
have to.
was I was sick. It generally happens when you're sick. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I just didn't mean. I didn't.
Yeah. I
I
just
didn't
I
want to
just
put you on
aim.
the spot.
Yeah, but you did anyway. But it's fine. It's fine. I realized, well, why am I not wanting to share that? And I realized there's no real reason.
Well, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I was just wanting to make people feel comfortable about that if that happened to them because it happens. I'm
It
I'm
does
I'm sure it
happen.
happens because in my perception, feels more rare that it doesn't happen to somebody ever. And for all I know, I have more than half my life ahead of myself to poop my pants.
So many opportunities. Every day could be
Yeah,
another day when you poop your pants.
yeah. There's
God,
life is full of opportunities to poop your pants.
if anybody starts listening to this episode thinking, well, I could have some food on the side, we go hard from the start with pooping your pants.
Well, yeah. Hi, welcome for me as well. The Shalama hot dog baby. Yeah,
And from me,
we're done with the poop talk. It's fine. We can continue eating. That's fine. We've just if you probably heard it. We talked about bikes and stuff. It's stuff. Cycling. It's good for you.
I just cannot really cycle. I feel bad. Like I'm one of those people who can't swim, can't cycle, can't drive a car. I mean, I can
That
sort of
one
cycle,
of
but it's
those.
not really like proper.
Yeah, but one of those things is like practically way more complicated to get into.
I feel like all of them are. Like I
It's
tried to learn how to swim and it was so fucking hard. For some
the
reason it
thing
just
is
wasn't working out.
with swimming, you can just at your own time and leisure choose to go to a place where you could practice and potentially where nobody can judge you. With cycling, you can do the same. You just have to procure a bike somehow, and you can go to like on a holiday. You can go to mall parking lots or something like that, like the parking garages, and just cycle around there and try it out. Or some park. Like there's plenty of opportunities to test it out. But with driving a car, it's yeah, no,
It's
you
much
cannot really
harder.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cuz you run the danger of killing somebody.
Yeah, and it's even you could argue, yes, you could go to a private property with a huge parking lot or a huge open space you could just drive around in. But then there's all these caveats with how you are allowed to drive, which you cannot really do with test and learn without doing it. And you cannot get the car to the place you need to just try it out without somebody that can drive there because yeah,
I
yeah.
think that the second bit is the bigger problem because I have practiced driving like that back when I actually did try to practice to get a driving's
Mhm.
license, but I basically didn't actually bother with the full thing. But I did that a few times where my dad would drive us to this kind of like, I don't know, off road. Well, not off road road. It was a road, but it was kind of like deserted or something. But a lot of people would come there to kind of like make tours. And I did go back and forth along that road a lot of the times. But then other cars come in, and you also have to just be a bit nervous to like avoid them because it
Yeah.
is kind of a known spot where learners come to practice driving. And I've also done some driving practice in a parking lot in the States, of all things. A parking lot of like a Walgreens or something. But I also ended up going on the actual fucking street, like where other cars were. And obviously there were cars in the parking lot too. So I was still fucking kind of freaked out the whole time.
Yeah, I get that. It makes that's I mean that's reasonable.
Yeah, but in the end, I still basically cannot drive and I don't have a license. Like I would never go and tell people, yeah, I can drive. Let me drive the car if the driver is tired right now. No.
Yeah.
Like even if I got away with that because of the lack of a license, I wouldn't do it because
I
I can't
I
drive
don't know
really.
when I would find the time to get a license now.
Same.
I don't know, not sure. Guess would have to find out how to fit that into work and everything. But I guess I can work from home. I also thought about this with other stuff like doctor's appointments and stuff. I would just work from home and, do it in my hope it's not longer than an hour so I don't have to work longer, basically. But with driving, I guess you always do 90 minutes, I think, a year. You always do two slots of driving practice at once. And I
Per
think you have
per
to do
week
like 20.
or per day.
No, no, per session. You can have as many sessions in a week as you want, like as much as is available and you can pay for.
Hmm.
But you have to do like 20 sessions. So you have to do like 10 90-minute sessions and more. I forgot how many sessions you actually need to do before you're allowed to get examinated, do an exam.
Get examined.
You do the exam. It's not like they do it to you, I guess.
Yeah, I've always felt like exams were being done to me because they're painful.
I mean, it's a passive process, I guess. No, unless, yeah, okay, a verbal exam is certainly done to you. They directly confront you about your ignorance and your knowledge.
Yeah, especially those are
Yeah,
the done to you, but even the written one is, it's not like you wake up in the morning and you decide to go and do an exam because it's
yeah.
fun.
There's gonna be somebody. I feel like in our audience, right at this point, there's nobody that would do that out of fun. I would dare to say that. But in a big enough audience, I'm sure there's at least somebody that likes doing exams.
I don't even know about this audience that we have here because there are people here who like um make mods for Kerbal Space Program for fun, or they play that game for 6,000 hours for fun.
Yeah, but that's different than taking exams. I think that there's a
It's hardly different, to be honest. I don't know.
eh, I claim it is. I'll
Or like
claim
they
that there is a
make
difference.
they make freaking like space, not Space Marine, but like Warhammer cosplay suits.
Mm.
These things that you have to just kind of like cut at specific angles. These plates, these like foam plates. And you have to fucking 3D print bits and paint stuff. And yeah, everybody
I
in
don't
chat is
think
getting called
that's
out today.
I don't think that's like an exam either because the only person judging you is yourself.
Yeah, until you actually either publish that mod for thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, or you go at this live event where you dress up. I would argue this is still kind of an exam.
Eh, I'm not sure. It's also when you see the levels people show up with, everybody shows up at the level they are at with these hobbies because they are just hobbies. And it's fine. No, it's not like you get a bad grade unless you take part in a contest, which is a different thing. That's something you willingly put yourself through.
That's
And you
again the
should
exam. That's actually
and
more the exam, yeah.
yes, but you have an expectation of how well you will do, and it has no impact on your life performance. How well you do there, unless it's to get a gig to get paid, and then you should be aware that you're not good enough to get paid to be a cosplayer. Like that's something, yeah, that's different. That's turning your hobbit into your hobbit, yeah. Turning your hobby into a job.
Turning your hobby
That's
into a
different.
hobbit.
Yeah. I think judging your hobby like that is unlikely.
Yeah, but there's
People
so
do
many
it to
people who turn
themselves,
their
I guess.
hobbies into a freaking job. Like what can I say? You know, I turned several of my hobbies into a job, kind of.
Yeah, but that's on you, you
Yeah,
know?
that is on
It's not
me.
it is not like you choose and enjoy the part where you hate, in fact, I think, the part where you are judged for how good it is. And you judge yourself harder than anybody else. In fact, you examine your own work too much, which is like the opposite. It's like doing exams in uni and then you get judged on your performance, but then you do go and judge yourself even though you passed, and then you think it's shit,
No, I
and that's the
judge
one that
it.
matters.
It's more like I judge other people's work and I always think that it's better than mine. I don't really look
Yeah,
at
but
mine so much because when I do, it drives me crazy, but I look at other people's a lot and then I'm like, oh my God, mine is so shit.
then you
How are these
do
people
judge
so
your work.
good? Yeah, but I judge it kind of as an like indirect thing. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you don't put yourself through sitting through your own work and being like, that shit, and that shit. You just assume what your work is like, which is worse, I think, because you're judging your work based on your feelings, not on your actual product,
I guess.
which is what too many people do. They do an emotional judgments on stuff, and then they beat themselves up over it.
Yeah, I guess. That's it. It do be like that.
It's just things in life where you gotta realize that emotions are not the thing that are the best to measure things by.
Yeah, they wanted why did we evolve to have emotions? Freaking
Because,
evolution failed.
well, it's good to have emotions because it ultimately is what is the glue that holds society together. You know, it's what makes humanity function as society.
Yeah, but there's emotions that also keep them apart, like wanting to kill somebody
Yeah, I mean, there's I'm sure there's a place for there used to be a place in society for that, like
or wanting
or
to
before
kill
society
somebody.
existed. Yeah, like a protective thing, you know. What's strange and foreign might introduce sickness, disease, and chaos that it endangers your family or tribe or something, you know.
Yeah, true.
But it's just that we don't need that anymore. And the people that do need that, weirdly enough, we go to them. I'm talking about the Sentinelese, I think is what it was called. Island.
You're talking about
That's
like indigenous populations.
Yeah, there's this indigenous population that has a fascinating story about them, of several, where explorers kept coming to them and being like, "Whoa, look at these people! They are so indigenous. They're like so they are so stopped in time with their progression in terms of technology and stuff. They're like deities they might worship and stuff. Why don't we bring Jesus to them?" And then there's missionaries that kept like at one point the missionary came and gave them stuff, and that was kind of okay. But then they got sick from whatever germs they carried in, and they actually had like they had a massive epidemic of that disease suddenly. And then next time foreigners came, they just shot arrows at them because they were like, "Just don't touch us, man. You're death. You make us sick and die."
Oh
Last
God,
time was a disaster. That was like the biggest catastrophe our civilization has had in a while. Just because I was like, "Hey, you know Jeebus."
Jeebus. Jeebus brings death.
Yeah, Jeebus brings death, if anything, but it's ignorance that they are like, yeah, you know, what's the worst that can happen? We bring the Lord, we bring salvation. Yeah, you brought salvation, all right. So those people don't have to worry about anything anymore.
That's also kind of like the when they went over to the New World, to the Americas,
Yeah.
to take over all the imperialist Spanish and Portuguese and British and stuff, and they just brought the plague.
Yeah, it turns out people are Nurgle.
People are Nurgle.
Jesus is Nurgle, you know? Missionaries going places, just willy nilly spreading disease.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the Wikipedia section where it says 2018 killing of missionary on the Sentinelese island. The because this guy was called John Allen Chow, a 26-year-old American trained and sent by the US based Christian missionary organization All Nations to convert them to Christianity. And they were like, he didn't seek the necessary permits required to visit the island. And he went there basically and he wanted to communicate with them and offer gifts, but retreated after facing hostile responses, as it says here.
Yeah. There's
And
even more history about this because people have tried before, and I think they are protected. Is it what
but
is
he
nearby?
eventually got killed.
Yeah.
A boy shot
There's someone died.
Eventually a boy shot a metal-headed arrow that pierced the Bible he was holding in front of his chest, after which he retreated again. But that didn't kill him. On his final visit on 17th of November, Chow
He
instructed the
came
fisherman
back.
to leave without him. The fishermen later saw the islanders dragging Chow's body, and the next day they saw his body
Yeah.
on the shore. Well, I think he was shot with the arrow, and then oh yeah, and then he did one last visit, and then he told the fisherman who brought him there to just go without him,
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, this is gonna be fine. I have Jesus on my side."
even after he got shot with an arrow.
Yes, it's absolutely ridiculous. Why do you think you're the savior of these people? Is this person want to be a saint? It's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, and it's also insane just how much this person persevered in this
Yeah.
insane quest to in the insane Christian quest.
Yes. That's not the only case, though. I think they also tried bringing them goods from the modern world. I think they brought them a pig as well because that's like here's some food you would like. It's a pig that's useful. But what if the pig carries any diseases that makes all the animals on the island sick?
Yeah,
It's also possible. Yeah, but now they're protected still, and there's actually patrols, I believe, that go around to make sure that nobody goes to that island. But people sneak through. It's ridiculous. And there's also, are they the same, or are they a different tribe of people that used to get during the war or something? There used to be planes that used their island as like a supply place or something like that, and the planes would come and bring goods from outside of their world basically, and then the planes stopped coming at some point, so they built effigies that look like an airport because they thought that would summon the planes.
what, really? So they actually
Yes,
wanted to welcome these like drop-ins.
they wanted the gifts from the sky, so they built the effigy, which is just like a straw airport. They like a straw terminal or something.
Oh my god, that sounds
It's
amazing.
so bizarre.
I cannot find where this was built.
Um, I'm also trying to find it. The remote South Pacific island, where they worship planes. Yeah, they build effigies that look like planes. Yeah, that's what it.
Cargo cults.
Yeah, the cargo cults. Exactly, that's what it's called. Yes, that's exactly it. After a group of indigenes
It,
saw their first plane fly over Vanuatu, which is a really cool name, a remote island in the South Pacific of Australia during the Second World War. They created a religion based on the worship of aircrafts. The religion was first discovered in 1946 by Australian government patrol. The planes occasionally delivered food and supplies to the islanders, so the group began to believe that cargo would be brought to them by a messiah. As a result, whenever they saw a plane fly overhead, they would build a replica in the hope that they would receive more blessing. The islanders did not know where the objects were coming from, which led them to believe that the objects were being delivered by supernatural means.
that is
Yeah.
incredible. But that is also kind of like that kind of just shows how how insane from the outside cults and religions are. I
I
think
mean, we call it a cult, but in reality, that's just their perception of the world. Right? It's not
yeah.
really a cult.
Well, yeah, but that's their mythos, their like
Yeah.
explanation for things they processes they don't understand. And I'm also reading in Three Body Problem, which is the book we're currently doing for book club. There was some I think a theory or whatever they called it in the book, where basically there are ways in which you don't understand reality and you basically make explanations for it, but that's just because you don't perceive more dimensions. of reality. So if there's like an alien civilization that perceives like 5 dimensions, but you only perceive three, well, four technically as humans, you're just going to make up stuff that for them is very silly.
It's similar because to them the planes are like outside of their world, kind of. They have no idea, no concept where they come from and how
Yeah,
they
it's this
happen.
entire dimension that you just cannot perceive in a way, or at least you haven't been introduced to.
It's like beyond their horizon, and suddenly these vehicles that transport things from a place they cannot imagine probably just show up, and they bring things that they've never seen before, probably colorful packaging and stuff. They get Pringle cans, and they're like, "What is this mystery trap that traps my hand? But it contains the tasty goodness." But it also traps my hand. What is this madness? Is this some sort of trickery of the gods? Is this a lesson in life? Don't be greedy.
Yeah, because then your hand will be trapped in a Pringles pack.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's an interesting detour. There's some food for thought. Ponder what that means. Are
I'm
you
actually
reading?
trying. I'm trying to find that bit in the book that I actually wanted to tell you about, but I don't know how to find it right now really fast.
Yeah, unless you can immediately find it, I think it's fine. We can just move on.
Well, but I have like when I read books these days, I mark sections and I have these highlights that I kind of like to be able to pull up again. But apparently, this doesn't help very much because, like, at least I use Adobe Reader to just kind of mark sections. But the marked sections, like, I basically, when I read books, it's either in a PDF or it's in the caliber reader, but the caliber reader works with like text if it's not a PDF. If you have like an EPUB or something, you can basically open up the text in the caliber reader, and then you can make highlights in the book. But the highlights also include the actual text of the book. While in the PDF in like Adobe Reader, you make a highlighted text, but the when you pull up the list of highlights, it doesn't actually tell you the text you highlighted.
Is an EPUB where you get e drunk?
Yeah.
Thought so.
Yeah, well, but you get drunk, eat drunk, but you also get all these text highlights that you can read again when you're back to being sober.
Yeah, that's the problem when I'm sober. Like when I mark a book or like text, when I had history and as my focus when I did my school stuff. I don't know what to call it. I'd be
Majoring.
surprised what we call it. The way whatever lets you go to university school degree. And I would have these long ass history texts, like pages upon pages of history stuff, and I would mark things. And all I realize is that maybe on the day that I mark stuff and I talk about it, it's useful. But as soon as I'm thinking about something else, entirely forgetting about it, and then going back, I feel like all the stuff I marked is just useless because to me, so I was like, this is interesting, this is interesting, this is interesting. The entire page is just bright yellow highlight, and it's impossible to find anything anyway. I don't know. Whenever I highlight something or put a note in a book, it's so pointless because I never look back at that or I get why I thought that was important.
Yeah, I mean that's the same with how my books, my digital books are looking right now. It's kind of stupid, but I'm just thinking like my logic is if I ever wanted to read this book again, I would maybe just go through it and I would just read the highlighted bits and not everything. And maybe I would still get a good enough summary or experience
You
of the
could just
book.
get cliff notes or whatever they call that.
Yeah, but somebody has to make the cliff notes. Maybe they don't exist for everything, or maybe they're not the cliff notes for you.
Oh, I see. Well, are you still looking or can
I
we
am still
continue?
looking. You
Oh
can
god.
continue though.
Well, there's no point in me continuing when you're not listening. It's a
I
podcast.
I'm totally listening, but also you can podcast to the listeners.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell them what we've been up to this week. We've
Yeah,
actually done a real life segment, but that is not a segment because nothing was recorded.
yeah, that
We've done
wasn't
it.
a segment of anything.
We did it. We did a real life investigation. We we gathered an intel. We went to Lush. I've never been to Lush. I've only smelled it. from the outside.
You've smelled the Lush. Yeah, we only
Yeah.
went to Lush because one of the members of the community, Francie, she was very obsessed with Lush bath bombs. And
Yes. And then I found out that I have been looking for a good lavender scented shower gel soap, whatever. And I learned that they have lavender stuff. And in fact, I knew they had the Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Krang, the little Ghibli guy that uses a human suit to walk around, but he himself was just a jiggly brain. And turns out they have a jelly, a shower jelly that you can rub Krang all over yourself and get all lathered up, which now I'm realizing actually is kind of weird.
kind of
And
weird to rub a
yeah,
monster brain all over yourself in the shower. But I
yeah.
guess it is Halloween season, so.
It's just a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie associated, I think, or something. Funny enough, they didn't really do anything good for Beetlejuice, even though that's way more macabre and monstery. I didn't see anything fun.
They also didn't
They
actually have the Krang thing.
No, they didn't have that either, which I also found really disappointing. But they do have other jellies. I learned from that discussion that we had recently, and I wanted to see. And it's actually way smaller than I thought it would be. But it's like a lavender scented jelly that looks like galaxy-ish because it's called Twilight, and it's like, is it opalescent, pearlescent? I don't know what it is. It's like spacey,
I just call all of those things iridescent.
kinda. Like that. One of those things. I think it's opalescent kind. It has a slight opal sheen, like a oyster thingy, but it's purple, which is the best color to exist. And I just showered with it 3 days in a row.
Wow.
And it's really nice. It smells nice and it feels really nice. And yeah, we smelled all the things in Lush, basically.
Yeah, it was a very intense experience because being in there, you could almost not smell anything anymore. It all smelled almost the same, and your nose kind of, or at least my nose was kind of desensitized, so I was struggling to actually tell the scents apart. And then I actually, but by the way, before I talk about what I got myself from the Lush experience, I can tell you the distinction between opalescence and iridescence if you want.
Sure.
The general definition of opalescence is a milky iridescence displayed by an opal, which describes the visual
Oh.
effect of precious opal very well. And opalescence is commonly used in lay terms as a synonym for iridescence. So they're not that different, but I guess with opalescence is just more milky because it
I mean, it's
refers to the
very
opal.
opaque, so I would almost call it more milky, I guess. But it's not whitish. It's more like a black milk, I guess.
Black milk. Yeah, but what I got myself from Lush was this fucking weird spongy, or not even spongy thing. I got myself a soap because after trying to sniff everything in the shop and most things smelling kind of too faint, I actually found this soap that was like mega pepperminty. It had like a smell of peppermint cake, chocolate cake. Like it smells both of like chocolate or like caramel and of peppermint, and it's so fucking nice. It smells so
It
good. I want to eat it every
What I
time.
found fascinating about that, there were only like three kinds of soap that were like that. It was a very niche thing they had, I think, where the soap was very squishy, like not like jelly, but it's like a sponge almost. It's like that candy that's like an egg foam that is hardened slightly, but it's still very squishy and it
Yeah.
bounces back into shape.
It's got this weird
It's strange.
marshmallowy texture to it, but
Yeah,
like
exactly.
like more dry marshmallow, more like kind of still spongy, or like some kind of meringue texture to it. Actually, like I think that's probably the best way to describe it. But I kind of don't like the fact that once you use it and then you like let it sit there in the bathroom, it's been
Whence?
it's been wettening. It's become more and more like weirdly gooey and sticky, and it sticks to the soap container, and also it feels kind of weird when you grab it because it's so wet all the time. Like I'm not sure I love the experience of using it, but it still smells so good that I'm happy to just kind of have it in the bathroom to just stink up the place in a good way.
Wasn't overwhelmed by the smells. To me, I liked the all the soaps, all the hard soaps and the soft soaps and the bath bombs. They all have the colors really pop, and the way they are made just looks very satisfying. Like I always also liked making clear candles and stuff with stuff in them.
You've
It
made
has
clear
this.
candles.
Yeah, when I was young, my mom had like candle making kits, and we made candles with stuff in them.
I've always wanted to make candles or some crafty shit like that, but I haven't done it yet.
It's so easy. You get these pellets, and then you just you cook them to make the goop, and then you take like small seashells and stuff, and you just put them in there, and you have candles that have such stuff in them
Yeah, I
once they're
mean,
solidified.
obviously, I don't think it's hard. I just never done it, and that sounds also
Mhm.
like something that people would do for like autumn or spooky season.
Yeah, I don't even know what season it was. My mom just did a ton of those things. I also like window color, where you do these. You use a transparent, and then you just use the window color goop on it, and it hardens, and you do mandalas and ducks and all kinds of shapes you like.
You mean
Like I
some kind
think
of
I had it.
stained glass?
Yeah, but it's this gel stuff you stick onto your windows to decorate your windows.
Oh, okay. So it's not necessarily painting.
No, it's you get these tubes of gel stuff that hardens into this. Uh, I
Window
don't know
goop.
what to call it. Window goop. It gets hardened, and it kind of gives the window a stained glass sticker. I guess it's very textured, and I did that. I had like cute stuff that I liked as a kid, like fish and stuff that I liked, like the rainbow. I don't know what it's called in English, but there's this very popular kids story about this fish that has rainbow colored or like shiny scales, and the fish gives them away so every fish can have a color, can have a shiny scale.
Wow, that's cute.
It's kind of a sad book too, though, because like the fish is giving away all his scales because everybody hates him for being special.
No, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and everybody gets happy when they also have one because now they are no longer singled out. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's actually kind of weird.
Yeah, and then that freaking fish gets all removed, like all the freaking scales get removed and it gets naked and miserable.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's weird. It's
Jesus
not the best
Christ.
message in hindsight, but I liked it as a kid because it was cute and you
Oh,
didn't think about those bits.
yeah.
It's a very
That's
socialist book.
it
it's,
is a
it's-
it is a very socialist book, but it should ideally teach you about setting boundaries, which I don't think it doesn't sound like it did that very
yeah,
much.
it shouldn't involve bodily harm, kind of, but it wasn't treated as such because fish are something that people just don't empathize with for some reason. It's all very foreign and strange.
It's so annoying because so many people actually like fish and make them into a cute like character in so many things, but at the same time, you
Yeah,
don't care about them as a like as a creature that has some level of
yeah.
consciousness.
It's like they're sub mammal things, so nobody cares about their suffering in any way. Even though it's fish are so poorly understood. I don't mean scientifically, like we have an okay understanding of them, but I mean like colloquially, have a terrible understanding from humans. Like fish can look so similar and be insanely apart. Like a fish can be as far removed from like a person and a hamster, like that distance. But in fish terms, those fish can look very similar, but we cannot judge that difference, and we cannot really accept that there's such a vast genetic diversity in fish. I mean, when you look at deep sea fish, you kind of get to understand that. But fish just kind of get put into a drawer, and they're all too similar to people, even though they're very diverse. They might not look like that though, but they're very different needs as well, and they just get treated like one often.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
also
then
have all those things of like being sold in some markets or supermarkets where they just keep the fish in these freaking tanks crammed together until somebody buys them to cook them at home, or lobsters, or like
yeah.
in pet stores, obviously.
I think even more so than with normal with mammal meat, like cow, chicken and stuff. We still do associate the animals somewhat, but with fish, it's very easy to just buy like frozen fish products and never really think about what that fish actually looks like. I feel like a lot of people don't really know what the tuna looks like
I have
or
no
salmon.
idea what a tuna looks like.
Tuna is and then when you actually do see a tuna, like when you see like videos and photos, or you go to a fish market and they have a real big tuna that someone buys for sushi restaurants and stuff like that, you feel like those things look so freaking massive and cool. It's like fuck me. That's
Holy shit. Yeah, I'm finding some tuna pictures and several people are carrying these things
or you
because they're
catch them
so
in web
big.
fishing.
Oh my god, don't make this into a web fishing ad because we both basically started playing web fishing a couple days ago, this new game that basically is kind of getting a lot of attention right now. There's over 3,500 positive reviews on Steam. Like,
Yeah.
it's just this tiny game where you just have these silly, low poly cat or dog avatars, and you just go around fishing and searching for treasure in the ground with a metal detector. And it's a multiplayer thing, so you can just have a little server with 12
It's like
people.
someone took Animal Crossing and put it on PC, but they don't have any villagers. It's all the social aspects with other people, and all you do is fish, hunt for treasure, and chat shit, and put up props, listen to music, make music even, and shit
Yeah,
like
and
that.
buy scratchable gambling things.
Yeah. Well, it has an adult twist to it that isn't explicit. It's not anything sexual or whatever, but it has like an adult element of there's some spooky ghost secret things you can find, and
And you
you
could
can
shove each
gamble,
other. You could like
can show each other.
you
Yeah,
could hit each other. But you can also turn off that your character gets any sort of aggression effect. You can
yeah. You can
also
also hide anybody you don't want to see if you're on a server.
yeah, and you can buy t-shirts and stuff that are pan themed or bi themed or the gay t-shirt, the lesbian t-shirt.
Can I just interrupt quickly because I was I was looking out my window. And I there's just this animal staring in the bushes, and it's like, Where's the odor of this animal? Is that a cat? No, that's a dachshund." And it's just standing there staring into the bush, and
Wait,
the odor is nowhere to be seen.
I
And I
heard
think
I heard that I thought you were saying the odor of this dog,
I
of
know I
this
said the
animal.
odor.
And I was wondering, how are you seeing the odor of an animal that's outside?
Oh
Your
yeah, it's very pungent. And my thought was the owner was just in the bush pissing, because that's what people do here sometimes out the window,
But
because
were they
there's a hiking
pissing
trail.
or were they just not to be seen because the dog ran away too far?
I don't know, because the dog stood there for way too long, and now the doggo just slowly paced away.
Hmm. Well,
I don't
well.
know.
We have
I don't
a
know.
mystery on our hands. Is the person outside Shalama's house pissing while the dog is waiting?
I don't know. I think it has to stay a history. Probably they probably just had a very slow dog. Honestly, this was such an irrelevant side tangent.
True.
But I didn't want to, leave the Lush thing unfinished. I still wanted to say, yeah, maybe Lush is not that terrible. Maybe their stuff is all kind of samey though, because they have the same thing as all fragrance things. Is they're all kind of using the same base, I think, overall, but they have some nice smells. The jelly is really fun to use if you like sensory stimulus in that way. If you're, I don't know, I feel like if you're on the spectrum, that's especially interesting, because there's a lot of like nice stimulus you can get that is soothing. Like I was gonna say the colors and stuff, like I find them very soothing, and
Yeah, they
how
are
the
very
jelly
colorful.
feels.
Like I do like that they have all those colors and textures in the soaps and stuff. And there's also like a bunch of um they have these peels, like you can do body peeling or face peeling with these things, and they basically just have grainy stuff that they mix, and it feels like all these pastes or all these, like, I guess I don't know if it's coffee grounds. I'm not sure any of that was
Mm.
actual coffee grounds, but other stuff that is ground up and kind of has this grainy texture. And I was
It's all
also
very
enjoying looking.
tactile and visual, and is nice. But
The
I can
thing
also be
is,
overwhelmed by smells, but it
hmm,
wasn't that terrible. The thing that actually overstimulated me in there was how fucking loud their music was.
Oh
I
god,
hated that.
yeah. Like they had the music way too loud for a place where you're supposed to just go and just have like a chill experience smelling a lot of stuff and whatever. Like I don't know why I would have liked not to have any music in there, or if there was anything that it's just like this quieter instrumental stuff. I don't know why so
They
many
didn't need to
stores
cover
do
all the
this.
senses.
Like, let me focus on the thing that I came here for, which is to smell and feel some cosmetic stuff or whatever. But honestly, I also was thinking the whole time, like, yeah, this stuff is nice, but I could also just make this at home, kind of.
But
Obviously,
would
not
you?
not very not as colorful and as like complex, but I can obviously still make my homemade peel or whatever. And maybe I'll start
Yeah.
doing some of that. It's just annoying
uh,
because with stuff like that, you only can make a small amount at a time, and then you have to refrigerate it or figure out how
I
you can do like preservatives work for that stuff. Because whenever I've
depending
made
on what you use, it can you can use things that do preserve it better, or you have stuff that can be very easily made when you need it.
But I guess I would have to look into how you can make. For example, I used to do coffee grain peels sometimes. I would try to keep them in the bathroom or even in the fridge sometimes, but they would eventually get moldy and I would just have to throw the whole thing away. And I wasn't even making that much at a time. But like even a small amount, that stuff gets moldy way too quickly. And also,
Yeah,
it's a
very
mess in
moist.
the bathroom. Like cleaning up the coffee grains is not great because it also just leaves coffee stuff everywhere.
Yeah, I used to date somebody way back that made their own hair like shampoo out of, I think, rye flour and honey. I think apple cider vinegar or something. I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but they would like mix it every time beforehand. They would use my protein shaker, which I didn't like. Yes, please don't.
Hey,
Oh,
you're
groupie.
share your protein shaker.
I eventually just got a second one.
But was it really good for the hair?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what was necessary or not. I've never been much of an experimenter when it comes to shampoos, I guess. I just am lucky that it's mostly okay for me. My skin health and stuff depends more on how hard the water is and how humid, cold, or warm the weather is.
I don't know. I always have problems with my scalp skin. Like that thing just doesn't want to be happy ever. And then there's also like my hair too is has become thinner and thinner over the years and it just feels like, yeah, what do I do to this thing so it doesn't look totally dead and dry, but also doesn't get too greasy at the roots? Like I don't know. I just
I don't know, man. Skin health is the problem with skin health. I think we could have this sorted out. We could have this be perfectly fine, but with everything, that is commercial because we live in a post-consumer society. It's post-capitalism. It's all now. Everybody has to have a product, and now everybody keeps making product, and their product has to be good, so you buy it. So it needs to do all these claims, and now it's all full. It's a forest of bullshit, and it's hard to tell which trees are made of plastic and which trees are actually real. And the real trees being the stuff that actually does anything it claims, and everything else is just full of plastic trees.
yeah,
It's
there's
just
too many
bullshit.
things.
It's so much. And then there's like, oh, look at me. I'm what name can I use that is yeah, this is not their name. I'm Amazonia. I do content on the Twitches, and I do face stuff, and I do a cream that protects your face from blue light because apparently that is some of your screen emits that makes you old and
Yeah,
that's ugly. So
it's
don't
for
be ugly.
gamers.
Smear your face with shit that protects you from the blue because blue bad.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Skin unhappy, you ugly.
This person makes skin cream for gamers and also at the same time is part of an army of Amazonian warriors who just basically wear like just a thing in front of their breasts and crotch and
Sure.
like a little strip of tiger like skin, not like leather.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. That was just supposed to be one of those things, an example of things to point out that how many creators, how many influencers, and even companies, they're not excused. Companies do this too. Everybody just does these stupid claims about stuff. that is amazing. And how there's this amazing stupid comedy sketch by Michelin Webb where I believe it's Schwarzkopf Garnier or whatever. They have the lab where the scientists, because they have very high end labs to experiment on stuff, they goop you can put in your hair, shampoos and shit, because they have to scientifically investigate because they need to improve all the time. The number needs to go up. People need to buy our shit, otherwise they buy somebody else's shit that works just as well, even though our stuff doesn't actually work better. It just contains more plastics. And there's a scientist that accidentally discovers the cure for a cancer or something like that. And then the head of Garnier comes in with this beautiful hair that is just flowing locks, because everybody there has beautiful hair, obviously, and smashes his petri dishes or whatever, because this is not what they do there. They only care about glistening, perfect, voluminous hair. They don't care about curing cancer. They
Oh
invest all their
gosh.
science dollary dues in making hair look good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an actual Mitchell and Webb sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this basically summarizes what is flawed about having a capitalist society, but we're not gonna get into that too much.
It's just how ridiculous it is how they pour so much money in, yet they don't have the shampoo that's perfect for you. They don't. And nobody knows what is perfect for you except somebody that has your exact needs. And maybe then it's still slightly off. And your
Yeah,
water is not the right whatever
or maybe,
hardness, I guess.
maybe there are some companies even that do have a very good scientific understanding and clinical trials of what works and whatever, but because they might not have the budget to advertise to millions and millions of people, or they don't get enough funding, they still go bankrupt, or they just never get discovered enough. And it's I'm just sick of this whole thing of, yeah, you got to produce stuff that people want to buy, otherwise it doesn't fucking matter. Like, you always have to sell out in some way.
Yeah.
Or as the chat says, the hot tub streamer to reach the dumb gamers.
Ugh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a very perfect example, I guess, right now is trying to sell Lunchables, a famously unhealthy snack for kids, and just calling it something else and putting in a little slightly better cheese and a very unhealthy drink and being like, buy this and make your parents buy this, buy Lunchly because it's so much healthier than Lunchables. But, it's not as healthy as if your parents just made you a PB&J sandwich and smacked in like a carrot and some peas in your lunch, that would be much cheaper than Lunchly probably is. But you got
Yeah,
to be
but you
bullied
can't.
if you're not eating Lunchly because Mr. Beast said you should eat it. And all the kids get exploited by Mr. Beast because that's who he makes content for. Because those kids control their parents' wallets.
Yeah, and you don't want your kids to be not cool
Yeah,
at school.
exactly. You don't want your kid to not have the coolest lunch. You gotta have a cool lunch. Like anybody that's if you want to be as cool as anybody that is here currently listening to this, you gotta keep up by buying the cool lunch.
Yeah, we're just ranting about capitalism things. I mean, in general, you would want like marketing and promoting stuff to just kind of be truthful and just say, yeah, well, we have a thing that we've been working on for a while, and it's been kind of okay doing X and Y. And yeah, but no, that's not how you actually advertise things. And
Yeah.
everybody has to compete with each other's thing and pretend like theirs is the best that you should get, and it just drives you insane.
Yeah, it's not which they don't include in Lunchly because nuts would be a really great snack for a kid because high in calories, delicious and easy to eat.
Yeah,
Kids need calories,
but some
but
kids are
they
allergic
yeah.
to nuts.
Yeah, well then you gotta give them legumes or you give them something else.
Yeah, like
There's plenty.
they should make lunches that are just kind of like, also you have variety, so that if your kids cannot eat nuts, they can eat something else that will,
Yeah,
that would require a lot more effort, and I don't think these guys are
I guess
driven by
most kids
that
can
sort
eat
of
that highly
concern.
processed crap, so that's why it sells well. And parents are overworked. you know,
Yeah, they're
where they
overworked
can't make
because
anything.
you have to work at a job where you have to kind of do all you can to sell some shit or make shit that your boss wants to sell. So you don't have time to prepare actual food and you have to buy some shit that somebody else sells to you. The
Yeah.
circle of madness.
I think if I had a kid, even if even me being kind of like, oh, I'm struggling to do all these things, I think I would still manage to, at least in the evening, make a lunch for my kid and put it in the fridge, and in the morning be like, here, take this. Or at least I could. The odds are, if I give my kid like €5 or whatever, and tell it, when you go to lunch in the cafeteria or whatever, or your little kiosk that you might have in school, get yourself, you can have a vanilla milk, it's fine, but eat something that makes you feel full. And I feel like whatever the kid buys is probably going to be healthier than the lunchly thing.
Yeah, the actually thing is awful, but I don't know if I would count on my kid buying
Probably not.
stuff that is not just like some straight up
I don't know.
chocolate or
I
whatever.
used to I used to buy like pretzel sticks, like the fluffy like soft pretzel sticks, baked with cheese baked on top. That was
Yeah.
what I used to often get during lunch.
I also I can't remember what I used to get in school,
Not the
like,
best.
except for probably a lot of like chocolate cream croissants or like these croissants that they had some kind of cream filling. I think I was also mega obsessed with these ones that had like champagne cream. Oh my
What the
god,
frick?
I don't know, like, I haven't been
As
able
a
to
kid,
find them since I was a kid, but they had like they didn't have actual alcohol in them, but the branding was that they have kind of like this champagne flavor, and they were so good. At least that's how I remember them. I don't know. Now that if I tried them, they would probably be awful because I did try like I found that exact brand that used to sell that stuff, but I could only find like vanilla or chocolate ones out here in Germany, and I tried them and they just taste so like they have this weird alcoholic taste, but not from alcohol, but from whatever they use to
yeah,
preserve these
yeah.
pastries. And I couldn't really enjoy that flavor.
All soft cake bready stuff has the same alcohol smell to it because of the preservatives.
Yeah, the alcoholic, it's kind of alcoholic and this greasy, I don't know what it is, that quality to them. Like probably they not moisturize them. What is the term? Um
I know what you mean.
Whatever they use to keep something moist and fluffy and preserve it for long.
Yeah, I don't know, just some preservative stuff.
Yeah.
It's some kind of gum, some kind of alcohol thing, and then there's no air in the packaging, so it's always like, I don't know, nitrogen or something like that instead. They put something else in there that doesn't have water be absorbed in it, like it would be in air, so the moisture stays in the stuff. Same, like an antioxidant. That's what it is. Antioxidants. Because when stuff oxidizes, it looks ugly. When meat looks all brown and stuff in some countries because they don't have the meat packaged in plastics with antioxidants, which makes them stay red. Or they even put gases in that make the meat more red than it should.
Gases. I thought you
Yeah,
were
they
gonna
use.
say colorings, but they actually
No, there's
gas
no
up the
coloring. It's
meat.
just it's gas. Yeah,
So weird. But that
yeah.
reminds me, because the other thing that happened this week is I was in France
Oh, yeah, right.
talking
You
about
were in
croissants.
Strasbourg. Strash.
Strasbourg.
No idea how they say it themselves.
Strasbourg.
Is that how the French?
Strasbourg. I don't
Yeah.
know how they actually say it. I guess I can look up the pronunciation, but I'm not gonna bother. I was there it's basically kind of at the border of France and Germany. It's very close to the border. So I was actually wondering how French it would get since it's such a border city, but actually it was pretty French there. Everybody spoke French. Um, Architecture was different. There was all these stores that you just I basically
Full of
went.
baguettes. Every other store was just baguettes and
It
nothing
was
else.
it was just baguettes and
And then
restaurants
every
where you can
other
drink
store was
wine.
croissants,
Yeah, yeah.
and cafe.
Croissants and eclairs and um these freaking Gosh, I have this problem so often where I just kind of forget words for things. But
Pain au chocolat?
pain au chocolat, there was a lot of pain au chocolat. Oh my God. True. Um, but no, these things, these little things that they stick together with some cream, these pastry
Croissant?
bits. Not croissant.
Croissant?
Macaron. Yes, the macaronis.
You
The
get this here a lot
macarons.
too, but I never buy them. Like you get them in relatively fresh and made, packed in plastic, but I never bought them because I never knew how good they would be.
Honestly, I also didn't buy them because I just thought that they were some bullshit, like just something that looks pretty, so people sell it overpriced for that reason, but there's not that much to it. But I did buy some macaron things, but not from a bakery. I bought it from a supermarket. Like I went the last day I was there, I thought, well, I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna have a 6 hour train ride, and I have still room in my luggage, like bag, so I could just like shovel, not shovel, but like smuggle some stuff back into Germany.
What do you mean smuggle? There's no
It
border
was
control. There's
no, there
open
wasn't.
borders. It's the Europe. That's the point.
I
Open
kn-
trade.
I know, but the thing is that they
Yeah.
did say, like at least in the train app, it was saying that at some point at Karlsruhe or somewhere between Strasbourg and Karlsruhe, the train would actually check your passport or ID. Like they would actually
Mm.
do some kind of border check, but they didn't. So I don't know. They didn't
Yeah,
do that
because you could
either way.
technically travel into the EU and illegally, like be illegal here and travel to another country within, and I mean that's probably still a thing.
Yeah, but they still didn't even check regardless.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I guess like I know that it's not illegal to just buy some fucking groceries or candy in France and bring it over. I just was kind of thinking, well, let's go to a French supermarket. I went to
Auchan,
Auchan, and just thought, okay, let's just see
Auchan
what
from Auchan.
looks interesting here that I've not seen in Germany. And I basically bought like two flavored alcohol-free beers that were just random, but I thought, well, okay, this is a brand I've not seen. I'll just buy these. I bought a gingerbread flavored, which I just tried today, and it was pretty good, but too sour. And I think it's more aimed at eating it with meat because I expected it to be much sweeter because I was thinking of gingerbread flavor that must be mega sweet, but actually it's just like the gingerbread spices are kind of faintly in there.
I don't know what I would expect. I guess I would kind of think that it would be like Dijon mustard or something, but smells, tastes like gingerbread spice. I
Is
wouldn't think it would be
Dijon the
sweet.
one that's spicy or the one that it's just kind of mild?
I don't know if I would consider spicy actually.
Because there are some mustards that are very hot tasting,
Hmm.
but this one is just kind of like it's not really hot at all. It's just got the mustard typical taste, and then added to that is the gingerbread spice. And I think a little bit too much vinegar for my taste. That's basically my only complaint with it. That I don't really get why it's so sour, especially since it has actually added honey to it. So, but I still enjoy it. It's not bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I also never really considered to have honey to be have mustard be sour. I guess that's a little, I don't know. Is it, how does mustard always contain vinegar?
I
Maybe?
don't know. I mean, this one definitely has like spirit vinegar in it. I don't know if mustard typically features that though.
No, like when I look up generic mustard ingredients, mustard seed, brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, water, olive oil, or salt to
Yeah,
taste.
apple cider
And then
vinegar. Well, you have vinegar.
yeah, so I
So,
guess maybe the vinegar is more potent that they use, or they use more vinegar.
yeah. Yeah, vinegar as a preservative, apparently. Yeah, well, that was one of the things I bought. Then I also bought like these weird they're basically macarons, but only the shells, so they don't have any cream.
All right.
And they were also pretty cheap, and they were more like in the Christmas section because they had a bunch of these Christmassy like gingerbread things as well. But they also had these macaron like sides or whatever, and I bought those, and they're just like very fruit flavored, like
Flute flavored.
fruit flavored fruit flavored dough things, biscuits. But they're also pretty okay. That they're named Hansi something, Uncle Hansi's I don't know things.
Weird.
Yeah, what else did I buy? I bought another pastry thing that is basically with, I think it has Cabernet wine in it. They're like some weird I don't know how to describe them. They seem heavily drenched in syrup, and that syrup had some kind of wine in it because they have this red wine flavor. I forgot what they're called though, but they also they taste kind of weird because that wine flavor kind of became a little artificial in a way, but I think like most things that have wine in them tend to have this weird flavor that is almost like some kind of rancid oil almost. I don't know.
Ew. Okay.
Yeah, but they're not bad. They're just weirdly like chewy and having this weird like waxy taste.
I think the closest thing to that I eat commonly, like often, is Baumkuchen Spitzen, which are they have a little rum soaked in them. They're soaked in rum a little bit, but not a ton. It's not overbearing, but it's still an element of rum. And then there's like last year or so, I started finding some that had Irish cream in them, and they were very
Oh.
like Irish cream liqueur.
Yeah, I think I've had stuff like that. Freaking chocolate cake bits. But yeah, I wish they like I wanted to say basically that I wish I could find more things or just anything which has these like champagne cream flavors that I had in these croissants as a kid, because I've not really seen that be a flavor you can find in things. I also didn't see it in the French supermarket, but I mean, I wasn't there for that long. But yeah, another thing I got from there was like a fig biscuit, fig cream filled thingy that is called figolu.
That's what?
Figolu. I don't know figolu. They're just filled with like just squashed figs basically. Fig jam.
So like fig Newtons, which I've never had, but know way too much about for no reason at all.
Yeah, I like fig Newtons, although I also have never had those, but they're basically the same shape,
Yeah.
just wavy on top, because fig Newtons are just flat on top, and these figolu things, they made them look a little different by just making them have this kind of like stamped top. Yeah. So that's what I got from the French supermarket in Strasbourg.
I like how you went to Strasbourg and the thing you talked most about really was the snacks.
Yeah, and I didn't even start talking about what they fed us at the cafeteria, because we stayed at the European Youth Center for 2 nights, and we had included breakfasts and lunches, and oh my god, did we eat. But yeah, maybe I should also talk about why I was there, but I don't know how much to say about that because it was basically work related. We just were part of this program, like my studio, two of us, we went there to basically workshop with people from other studios that we want to make co-productions with. Like this whole program it's called like Spielfabrik Match. It's a program that is based up till this year. It was only involving European game studios, but then this year they also opened it up to like Canada and Africa and Brazil and stuff. So they're going more global, and they just basically pair up studios to kind of see who fits together, who has complementary skills and stuff, and then you try to make a game together. And we also basically found 2 studios that it's looking very promising. We've been talking to these people for months now online. We also met at Gamescom, and so this was kind of like the second meetup for us. and we just went to discuss more about like the concept of what we want to make and the terms, because you also have to look at like what are the legal terms, how do you want to split the revenue of what you're
Oh
making,
god,
you know.
legal.
Legal, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lawyer there too who was kind of like specialized in co-productions as well. But yeah, we also were invited to like there was a lot of just this kind of like going somewhere to eat or drink involved as
Mm.
well. Like we were invited to the Swiss consulate for some reason, like this entire group of studios who were participating, and also like some people from some institutions, and like and in even Switzerland for some reason. Like Switzerland, they had Wallonia, somebody like this region in Belgium who also has kind of like programs for game developers, and they just kind of talked about their own programs. I talked about like why we're making two co-productions. Maybe because we're insane. And then we just had a lot of like finger food there, and drinks and stuff. They had a lot of wine. I didn't drink any wine.
Of course they had
Um
wine.
yeah, they had wine. But we basically just met the Swiss consul guy, and he was just this very mild-mannered dude who was just like, "Oh yeah, games. That's cool.
Okay. Well,
Come and eat." And welcome to the consulate. It just felt like very official in some weird way, but mostly it was just people mingling and chatting and like seeing what each other does. One of those networking things.
yeah, I guess I've not really been too much. I recently had my business trip that just wasn't very networky, I guess. We had an agenda. We already had been working together, so I don't know. Networking events for us only happen on like CEO levels, I suppose, and high upper management. But you are a CEO, so I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, I'm sea level, bitch.
Yeah,
It
I'm
just
middle
feels so
management.
silly.
Or I don't even know.
It
I
feels
don't
so
think my company
silly.
has middle management.
Because, like, why aren't you middle management?
I don't know. There's no manager underneath me. So I don't know
So you're
what is
low
lower management.
management.
Yeah. I mean, there's 3 levels of management as far as I'm aware
I
in
don't
my
even
company.
know. I don't even know how that works. And I
Me
also
neither.
feel like it's kind of silly when I refer to myself as C level, because we're just three people in my studio and we all have basically the same. We're basically all three CEOs.
Yeah, well, because there's only you. There's nobody else. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, you can call yourself like director of some shit, but it also feels kind of impostery because it's just us, What are we? Who are we directing? Just each
Yeah,
other.
if you ever see the organogram of Anka's company, one of them is literally just called director of some shit.
Yeah, we each one of us is CEO, and then we're also director of some shit.
Hmm.
Like creative director and tech director, and I'm not a director of some shit. I'm just director and producer, I guess. The other guys can be directors of two things. I'm the director of directors.
Oh god.
I don't know, but like I kind of still feel like I'm the most businessy of us because I just kind of do most of the talking and they do most of the doing. So that's probably why I was talking to the consul and to the I sat with three other people, and I gave a little talk about why I'm there, and I ranted about the funding situation in Germany, and then turns out the guy who was involved with the funding in Germany was also actually there as a guest.
Well, then you
and
should know about it.
and yeah, and then I went and I talked to him because before that we were just emailing. Like when we got our award from the German government this year, like the studio got that award. Basically, this person was the one that I was communicating with over email to understand like the terms, or like how do we take the money, what are the like criteria that we respect their terms, basically, so we don't have to return the money back later because we didn't use it adequately. And then I was also just like starting my talk with, "Oh yeah, we're a studio, and we were counting on this funding from the German government when we founded the studio, and then that disappeared for a couple years,
Mhm.
and they didn't give it to anybody anymore." And yeah, it felt kind of funny, but like the guy, I think he didn't mind. I think he's heard that so many times, but it
I
was
would
it was kind of
assume that
funny.
these people simply also are constantly confronted with that and having to be annoyed that they don't get the money they need to do this. Like it's not
Yeah.
like they give you the money. They are not the people that do the decisions. They are just the people that try to get the money to distribute it, I think.
Yeah, I mean they are just basically the people who are trying to kind of respect the legal framework that exists and distribute the funds in the best way that they can under those limitations. And I mean even the people who do get to make the decisions, like it's also a decision like this is made by a group of people anyways, and there's so
Yeah.
many moving like parts in this whole system that it's like it's hard to just be like, oh, I'm gonna just blame this one person because the industry doesn't have enough money. It's just tricky, and everybody wants money in their own industry, so can't you're not gonna make everybody happy anyways.
No, and it's also, I mean, that this is something you could complain about even with them is, but I don't know how much you can really blame anybody. It's all German bureaucracy, which is such a fucking pain in the ass. Where a lot of the answers you get for stuff you have where you complain or you want something will always be, yeah, but that's not when you have to go through the proper processes. It's I don't know. This is where I feel like Germany has a strong relationship to Japan when it comes to bureaucracy, because there's certain things that it will just always be done by the book, and it's always going to have to be filled out in triplicate. It's like the Hitchhiker's Guide, Volgans. I forgot how exactly they're called. The Volgans, I think. The aliens that are so incredibly bureaucratic, but they are actually like basically the British government, and it's so similar. It's just bullshit. You get sent on these long errands. The way I am working as a manager is I am communicating in layers of, we are making something, and I'm communicating in layers of people relaying information from other people until something. And I'm sitting at the end where stuff gets written down to be made a certain way, like where the decision happens, how somebody is going to make that. Even though somebody else has already made a concept and also decided how they want it, but I have to interpret that, and they also get back and forth, and it's. I don't know. I'm sure that's how most companies operate on this scale, doing things like this with customers, for customers.
It's a game
But
of
it's just,
telephone.
yeah, it is kind of a game of telephone. And what I'm hired for is being able to decipher and not lose, to puzzle everything together and not miss anything in communication and translation, and literally translate as well. And I think I'm beginning to understand so much of how things are made and how it's insane because so many people complain about why things are certain ways. And I understand where those decisions come from. And sometimes, for example, with the Twitch app, where they introduce these stories that automatically get played as soon as you open the app and the sound is immediately on and not muted by default and stuff like that.
Oh, I hate that, but yeah.
Those There's no way Twitch, a company multiple times bigger than the company I work for, friggin' doesn't think about these things. There are people managing requirements that are there, that people, that are UX designers that must have experience in how UI and UX should be, and there's a conscious decision to make it a certain way, and there's friction in things that are made in apps in particular where it's intentional, and people are seeing how people react to it, and it's made to confront you and maybe even aggravate you a bit, to see if you can get used to it and behave a certain way that they would like you to. That's how everything is made. I don't know. That's just what I've learned based in my short time working in this. It feels like everything is just also not always decided in your interest, even though the product is made to get your attention. It's insane. Like if you look at Netflix, you can open Netflix this week and open it next week, and it's totally different. That can happen.
Yeah,
and
but
your
that's the thing,
Netflix
it's
looks
the
different
attention
than somebody
economy.
else's.
Like they design something that they hope most people will be okay with using, and also they will get attention from the most people, or the people most likely to pay something.
Yeah. That is just nuts though, because every app I regularly use to consume media, I do not use the app that was made for that. I have my own app. I have my own app to consume Twitch. On my computer, I have things that change how Twitch behaves because I cannot do with the OG experience.
Oh wow, I don't have
YouTube,
anything for that except for just the emote extensions, I
well,
guess.
BTTV, Franca faces, and stuff like that. You can change where the chat is and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
that's
that.
true.
You
I've
can
done
add
that.
features. Your browser adds picture in picture for you as well. Some people still use AdBlock if it works for them, which if you have Chrome, you're shit out of luck because that's no longer possible. Um, so switch to Firefox, the only browser that allows ad blocking. I guess
Doing
that's
so
one
many
other
ads
thing.
on this
Yeah.
podcast and we're not even paid for it.
Yeah. These are not strictly ads, but
No, they're
there's
not
one last
ads. They're
bizarre
just like
point.
us kind of
Yeah.
just doing like dropping names of products
It's
that
like
we use.
the starter guide to getting into customizing your experience online. It is something you can palette and isn't forced down your gullet by the company that is running the platform. I have my own Twitch app, I have my own YouTube app that I had to build from GitHub and stuff, and then enable features and turn off features as I like. Sponsor block, all those things. Because at some point you get tired of constantly being told about HelloFresh or being told about this stupid air up water bottle that does nothing and is just a waste of resources. But everybody, even the nicest influencers shill that stuff because they need to make money somehow, and that's the least impactful mean thing they can promote. Better than some crypto coin, I guess.
Yeah, like that's also the thing with being like a content creator. Like you kind of want to earn more by promoting some stuff, but like what kind of sponsorships do you take that you can actually feel good about?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't really
yeah.
want to like I don't really want to promote brands. I don't really want to be like, yeah, here buy from this, I don't know, computer manufacturer or whatever because
I have a tiny PSA. I want to hang on to that because it just always fits into this, and I've recently tried to tell as many people as possible. There's
oh yeah.
probably barely anybody hanging around at this time, and if they did listen to this in bed, they probably already fell asleep. um, so I keep the usual air horn and siren noises out of this. But if you're using Firefox, it's weird that you're living using a tool that you're, I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but in a way, you're incredibly privileged to be able to use Firefox
What?
in a weird way because or maybe more like you are living a false choice that you think you have. Like using Firefox over Chrome is not a choice that you get to do in spite of Chrome. It's bizarrely a choice that you get to do because of Chrome, because Google is the biggest financial supporter of Firefox. And if you look at the annual reports of where the money comes from that Firefox uses, you will see that it comes from Google.
Wait, so Google pays Mozilla what for what?
Google has spent $500 million on Firefox, according to Bloomberg. Uh, that was last year in June
Yeah, I
or
pulled on
May.
yeah, probably pulled up the same article as you.
Yeah, I tried looking for the actual report, but I couldn't find it so quickly. But yeah, most of the funding that Firefox is getting to be operational and running and be able to even exist kind of in this current ecosystem, because making browsers is incredibly difficult, is coming from Google. And the reasoning behind that is seems to be generally accepted is that Chrome is every other browser on and basically there's Safari, right? But that is on all Apple devices, and
There's
I
also freaking Edge or Internet Explorer.
Edge is Chrome.
Is it?
Yes, that's also Chrome. Discord is Chrome. It's a Chromium based. app. It's
Ah,
basically
right, the
just a
chromium
it's a
stuff.
wrapper for it's just a browser wrapper for a web app kind. Opera is also just Chrome. It's all just Chrome. It's all just Chrome except for Firefox. And then there's some niche things which are very niche that you wouldn't even have heard about basically. And the theory is just that Chrome has to keep Firefox alive because otherwise they would end up in a situation where it's possible they would have to split the company or do something about it because there needs to be competition. Otherwise, they end up being in a monopoly and they control the entire market. So Firefox needs to exist,
So what is there like some kind of US law that you have
not
to
just
have
US, I think.
competition?
Yeah. That's the whole thing when Microsoft tried to buy Blizzard recently and succeeded, which was bizarre. Um, where we are approaching a singularity of every gaming company being owned by like the same two companies or something like that. Where there has to be a lot of legal checks before these acquisitions can be made.
Mm.
And the same thing, I with Chrome and Firefox being literally the only two browsers really anybody uses. I guess yeah, Firefox is there as a scapegoat, as to say, yeah, there's totally competition. No, we are not the only reason they exist. Totally not.
Jesus, that's so
Yeah.
weird because yeah, like I also just only use Firefox because I guess I always had the impression that they're the most like I don't know,
Pro
I
consumer, I
pro
guess is what I
consumer I
yeah.
guess would be the term, and
Yeah, they kind of are.
they kind
But
of have this
yeah.
whole thing where you can I mean they have an like a tracker and ad block thing out of the box, I think, or at least the tracker thing that is blocked automatically. I don't know, like at this point I'm just used to it as well. Like they don't force you to have an account. I mean, I guess Chrome, I'm not sure if it does force you at this point, but there was
Mhm.
a thing about that too, that it was really annoying you with like having an account with Google in order to use it.
Yeah, this is the thing that I think we will keep seeing come up more and more is that there's a reason why there's paywalls for news articles because you cannot make news anymore and be profitable just by making news because there's so much spam on the internet. There are so many shitty websites that just make shitty junk food news and push out AI written articles all the time that it's hard to for genuine real journalism to survive, and so you should pay for that if you can. That's yeah, it's shit because the internet used to be free. Everything on the internet was always free, kind of, and nobody wants to pay for anything. That they are used to being a commodity that is not something they need to trade for anyway. It's
That's
just given to
true.
them for nothing. And yeah, I guess at some point we would maybe have to be confronted with someone releasing a browser that is not influenced by Google but will have to be paid a subscription for because otherwise how's it going to stay alive?
Yeah, and that's the sad bit because you want the internet to be this free knowledge like library thing basically as well, or like that you can access the stuff regardless of what your means or background are, but at the same time if that's the design, it also makes it way too easy that everybody can just dump their shit out there and
Yeah,
bury all the good sources as well, or like visibility goes out the window.
I mean, so far everybody makes money on ads, but everybody hates ads, and I don't see ads because I block ads, so they don't get money from me. But the ads are really aggressive and shit, so I block them with more force, and it's a constant arms race against ads. I pay Twitch Turbo because I thought, okay, I'm going to pay for this service that I get way too much time from for not giving anything back. Unless I stream or buy subscriptions, which I feel like is I don't want to pay a subscription to 10 different streamers just to don't not get ads.
Yeah, because then it also
Uh,
gets too expensive for
yeah,
you.
it's an economical decision, and that's fair. I mean, YouTubers get money from ads and they get sponsorships. That's where they get money from now. Twitch streamers have the same thing as well. I don't need to be served double ads when I still have to see them shill gamer subs and stuff like that.
Oh man.
Like if they do that, I don't need to watch an ad to, you know, I'll pay Twitch Turbo so Twitch can survive. Okay, that's because I would like it to exist. I would like there to be Twitch. I would like that to be YouTube, so eventually I'm probably going to pay for YouTube Premium, and that's okay. But I also feel like Google really doesn't need the money either. I mean, neither does Amazon, but I think Twitch is way more likely to be to be just shut off by Amazon because Amazon is the type of company that just does that.
Yeah, that's the thing with Twitch. I wonder when they're gonna shut it down because I don't think I don't even know if it turns a profit.
Hmm. Maybe they can sell it to Microsoft and they can ruin another streaming platform.
Oh no. Where will we go?
I don't know. YouTube live streaming. Oh, I don't know. Twitter live streaming.
No fucking way.
That's the. It's impossible to. I think these websites cannot be profitable. The amount of data that is being used. I recall that at some point, people. I don't know how real those numbers are. Someone calculated with their limited knowledge, probably, that Asmongold doesn't stream on his main channel. Also, he's banned right now. But he's not banned. Zach Raw is banned. His second channel, which is not partnered or affiliated because he streams on this channel. He's streamed on this channel for over a year at least, I think. He doesn't stream on his partner channel,
Not anymore, like
which
at all? Or
at all. I
what the
think he's
heck?
maybe done it because he was forced to at some point from like some deal. I'm curious because I'm pretty sure some streamers have obligations to stream in a minimum amount of time. I've seen streamers like Pestily be like, I have to stream
I thought
because I've
that
not
was a
streamed enough.
I thought that that was a term in being a partner that if you don't stream for a certain time, you could
I
be
don't know.
departnered or something.
That's unknowable unless you can reach that information somehow because partner agreements are all custom. Like the newest ones might be more generic, but bigger partners like Pestily, for example, made a deal for job security. Like years ago, when I used to watch him more, when I used to play more Tarkov, I learned that he had an agreement where he had to do a certain amount of ads, he had to stream a certain amount of time because in return, Twitch gave him job security.
Mm,
So
makes sense.
he's basically more employed by Twitch than other people are, I guess. Not sure how that holds up. It's a special deal. I don't know if everybody has that. But the thing with Asmongold is being one of the largest streamers, he recently got banned for making some spicy statements that he shouldn't have done. And also he's a right-wing nut right now, so that's not great with that much of an audience. And the thing is that he streams on his channel that isn't partnered or affiliated. So he yeah, they are not just spicy, they're reprehensible statements. Just
Mm.
to be clear, I don't endorse that. I don't think he's a good person. I think he is a person that needs to get some help because he's probably not in a good place. But he doesn't make Twitch any money, but he uses bandwidth to an insane degree. Like he streams insane hours all the time on a channel that doesn't get subs or any monetization because it's not affiliated or partnered.
Oh, so he's not even affiliated on that channel.
No, he cannot get subs or bits on that channel.
Oh, wow.
There's
Holy
no
shit.
monetization happening through the community. He is just and that traffic eats a shit ton of money from Twitch. And someone alleged that it's like $1 billion a month or something.
Oh my
I don't know if
god.
that's true. It's probably less than that, but it's a lot of money still. It's just traffic of so many channels, and it's crazy. And there's just so much. It's so not sustainable. The whole thing of Twitch and also YouTube, kind of, who've never turned profits in forever. So I guess we all have to subscribe at some point. Yeah, but I want to stop here because I realized we've probably been going for 1.5 hours.
Time to stop. Time to stop. Yeah, we're gonna head out.
Yeah, we can cut this last media rant out and have it an extra,
No,
maybe.
it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna leave it all in, but it was good.
Jeez.
Long one, but you gotta get all that info out. So we'll allow it.
Well, this and other topics I don't talk about as much, but they have been ripened in my brain, so there's a lot of information there. So
Yeah,
sometimes that gets out.
yeah. You gotta you gotta let it rip sometime.
Jesus. Yeah, let rip a ripe one. Which reminds me of the last thing. When we were in Lush for all the spells,
See, you're
while
not
we were
even
in
done.
Lush,
You're not even done.
someone farted in Lush, and all the smells in the world didn't cover that fart. So Lush kind of failed on that one, and I was shocked that someone farted in Lush, and it overpowered the sense they had so much that I barely remember that I was on Lush.
Wow.
The lesson
Everybody
is
can
don't
know.
fart in Lush, you're not safe.
The others are not safe. I mean,
I
maybe you're
mean,
not safe either if you smell it yourself.
yeah, or you might get caught. You're not it's not like in a loud place and you fart and nobody hears it. No, it's loud, but and there's a lot of loud smells, but not that loud.
All right. Bye, bye,
All right.
Shalama.
Bye. Enjoy the rest of your stream.